And you have a lot of buying power. What's next?
Okay, so what helped us out to have a lot of that leverage or the liquidity that we had to purchase more properties, Robert, was refinancing. After we restructured, if you remember, 6 months to about 8 months later, the interest rates were so low, I decided to cash out refinance on one, two, three properties.
You did every property you could.
Every property that we could.
You stuck with the plan.
Yes.
What was it? Yeah, because you were. What do you call it when you cash out? You have a little.
So I didn't learn the Burr method, which is you buy the property.
Let me write it down. What did you say?
Burr method.
Burr.
It's the acronym for buying the property, rehabbing the property, renting the property out. You refinance the property, and then you repeat the process.
Nice.
So it's basically Burr.
Gotcha.
And all the properties that we had at the time, after we restructured everything, we refinanced a cash out refinance. And I knew that cheap money was the way to go, right? So knowing that my rentals, the rental payment every month was going to be still less than the mortgage payment was a no-brainer because the interest rates were so low at the time.
You pulled the trigger.
Yes, I pulled the trigger, Robert, and that was just the best thing that I could have done because that helped us gain so much liquidity and set us up to buy more properties at that time, guys. So
took you to the next level.
Oh my goodness. It just gives me the chills because when I remember back going through the process, even though the closing costs and everything added up to so much, it didn't matter because the money that I was borrowing was so cheap, right? The interest rates were so low that essentially it was like zero as we would call it, right?
Yes, and I'm weirdly photographic with people's scenarios. I've always been really good in math, but if I remember right, when it all came down to it, you basically increased across the board because we even redid your main house.
Yes, we did.
Rule number one: you get the best rate and the cheapest payment on the house you live in, and you get the most cash out. So that's we can't say that. So you always start with the house you live in, and even if you have a paid off home, but we started with that home, gave you a bigger gave you a bigger home equity line of credit, max cashed out across the board. I don't know what you ended up buying power, but I do know that it was barely $100 higher than the payments prior.
Yes. So once we restructured the HELOC, we got a new HELOC on the primary residence. We refinanced everything out, cash out refinance, and I'm just gonna throw numbers out there. After it was all said and done, we had about over $700,000 that we can play with to invest in more properties at that point. I know it's not that $1 million number that everybody's looking for, but you know what? You start somewhere, guys. You have to put the fear aside and recognize a good opportunity when it's there. So that's, and I can't stress enough that educating myself really helped us gain this portfolio. Because without me studying and educating myself on YouTube, talking to people, growing my network, I wouldn't be where I'm at now, guys.
Bobby.